Eduards Skvireckis, who is a metadata or data management expert at the National Library of Latvia. And his talk is the library data on Wikidata, a case study of the National Library of Latvia, which kind of hints already on the topic that the National Library of Latvia is using Wikidata as a knowledge base. And the library's authority files are modeled and integrated into Wikidata, and I'm sure we're all very excited to hear from your experiences in doing so. So Edwards, if you're ready, then the stream is yours.
Oh, hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to meet you here, although in online. So without further ado, I will start. Referring to what Jacob Voss stated in yesterday's session, that MARC is still alive, and following yesterday's presentations about different use cases and approaches of getting MARC21 data into the semantic web environment, today I will present one more use case of exactly that. For many years, the library catalog was no more than an ink on paper. Card indexes in deep wooden drawers painstakingly compiled by humans. Libraries have changed, but the core purpose of the library is very much the same: to give access to knowledge, literature, and learning. Librarians organize and provide information, and when you think about it, that's a pretty big responsibility. But defining what something is so it can be found later, that's an act of truth-telling. Linked data services and applications and tools have matured considerably since the early exploratory years of semantic web research and development, and these technologies continue to be integrated into the daily lives of consumers. Libraries and supporting information services have also found opportunities to augment the web with high-quality bibliographic and authority data. By publishing a bibliographic and authority files as linked data and connecting concepts to external datasets across domains, the library community has become an active participant in the rich linked information landscape. And this participation is dynamic, complex, and ever-evolving. In this talk, I will present one experiment that is going on in the National Library of Latvia, and that is moving library data into MediaWiki environment, particularly Wikidata. So, if our aim is to give the best access possible to our users, our MARC21 data have certain shortcomings. It is both down to the way the data is structured and the way that we give access to it. Structure of MARC21 record is a flat and mostly based on the text strings, and is closed behind ILS walls. All the wealth of data at our disposal satisfies only the basic functionality of the library. That is, it provides these well-known 5 generic user tasks: find, identify, select, obtain, and explore. Here at National Library of Latvia, as in many other libraries around the world, I believe, we have been exploring the benefits and challenges of converting our data to linked open data. To date, this has been done by experimenting on a reasonably small scale, using the established infrastructure of Wikidata and other open access resources and tools like Kathmandu Data Toolkit, OpenRefine, MARCEdit, and etc. I have mentioned Wikidata several times now, and now it's the time to go a little deeper. As the saying goes in Latin, ad rem. I assume that most of you already know Wikidata very well, but the next 2 slides are for those who know less about it. So, and information for these slides I took from the presentation that was presented in 2020 by Hilary Thorson. Wikidata is a part of the Wikimedia Foundation's family of websites. Much like Wikipedia, Wikidata is open, editable, and reusable by anyone. It is a part of Wikimedia Foundation's vision of a world in which everyone has access to the sum of all human knowledge. And as the name suggests, Wikidata's contribution is in the form of data. Originally created in 2012 to help connect related Wikipedia articles in different languages, Wikidata has flourished into the massive open data set with the data just about everything. What makes Wikidata so powerful, other than the fact that institutions and individuals can contribute or make the data or make use of the data freely, is that it is linked data. Rather than text-based data, it is things, not strings, as you may have heard several times from the one of inspirational talks of the founder of the World Wide Web, Tim Berners-Lee. So, why should we link our data to Wikidata? I think I have already answered the question, and I think the previous talks yesterday and then today answered them as well. But I would like to emphasize a few more things. Firstly, in the Wikimedia movement strategy, it is said, a world in which every single human being can freely share in the sum of all knowledge. And library world couldn't agree to that more. Secondly, it is expected that by 2030, Wikimedia will become the essential infrastructure of the ecosystem of the free knowledge. Third, Wikidata already connects many controlled vocabularies, authority files, and ontologies used in the GLAM sector and beyond. Fourth, it is multilingual, and it is very important. And finally, Wikidata as a hub, not just for identifiers, but as a universal collaborative knowledge base, where libraries can truly share and disseminate their knowledge, connect it and use it to describe and query their own resources as well. There is a project called WikiProject Books that helps to model data related to books into Wikidata. The aim of the project to define a set of properties that can be used both by book info boxes, comments, book templates, and wiki source is slightly different from our needs. And it is not focused on library data particularly, or mappings between MARC21 and Wikidata. Nevertheless, we have used and relied on it, participating in ongoing discussions as well. In the project, they use the Ferber model as a basis to divide the book properties into three sets: works, editions, and exemplars. WikiProject Books provide a data model and set of properties for each layer. And this helps us to stick to the overall vision of the Wikimedia Foundation and follow the existing structure of Wikidata. There are still questions and problems that have not been solved, but anyone who is interested can get involved in this project and contribute to the better future. But before we start the mapping process between our authority records, that is in MARC21 and Wikidata, we looked around to see if such mappings already existed. And indeed, there is another project that deals particularly with authority records and Wikidata, and that is PCC Wikidata Pilot. As outlined in PCC strategic directions, the PCC is now seeking to move the library community from static, record-based authority work towards more flexible, metadata-based identity management. Just like the National Library of Latvia, it seeks to facilitate the implementation of new tools and technologies like linked open data and encourages collaboration with more diverse variety of outside communities. And the PCC Wikidata Pilot that was started in 2020 is the latest outcome of this work. And this project made extensive mapping between authority records in MARC21 and Wikidata. We used it as a basis for our own mapping and then aligned our results with the WikiProject Books data model. Although we have established mappings and workflows for all types of entities, in the next slides I will guide you through the work authority record only for one short story, and it is a Purva Brides. In English, that would be Wading the Bog by a Latvian author, Rudolfs Blaumanis, that was written in late 19th century. And I will go field after field in this authority record mapping mapping all these MARC fields to the Wikidata properties under items. First one is control number. It maps straight to the Wikidata property LNB ID. Then we have 046 special coded dates and 388 time period of creation. Both part of these properties maps to Wikidata property inception. Next we have 075 type of entity, and that maps to the Wikidata property instance of and value literary work. Next, we have 100 and 400 fields, that is personal name and variants, and that is exact match with Wikidata property author and the corresponding value of that. Next, we have 100 subfield T and 400 subfield T title and variants of the work. And Wikidata has two places where we can specify a work title. One is through property title, as you can see, and other is using item label. Both items indicate the language of the title, but they function slightly different. So next one is 370 subfield G. Here we must be careful, because in this subfield states that it is for place of origin of work or expression. So far, so good. Unfortunately, in practice, we don't have a clear distinction between place of origin that is compatible with the work entity and place of publication that is compatible with the manifestation entity. And this problem definitely asks for librarian in the loop solution that we had yesterday already. For example, in the pages of the biography of Rudolf Baumann is about the period when he wrote Purva Brida, is the same short story that is being discussed. We can read, quote, "In addition to working as a journalist in Riga and St. Petersburg, the writer spent a lot of his time in Braki, home, taking care of its maintenance, running the farm, as well as focusing on his creative work," end of quote. We cannot be sure that the novel was written in Riga or in Braki, but if we are, we must use references to indicate the source. And that is another problem that I will discuss a little bit later. Next, we have 377, a language. And language maps the Wikidata property, language of works or name, quite well. Then we have 380, form of work. This field maps the Wikidata property genre, but here we face a small problem regarding to a value. We cannot find the exact equivalent to the genre short stories Latvian that we have right now. Most of our national thesauri terms have either the LCSH identifier or the FAST identifiers, or both. And lots of the LCSH and FAST terms already are present in the Wikidata, but we haven't reconciled our identifiers with the Wikidata yet, but we are planning to do that in the near future already. The next one is 400 subfield T, and that is one more title variant. And then we have a field 530, see also from tracing uniform title, this title of the field. This is a relevant entity that MARC21 is trying to represent. And a relevant and related entity that MARC21 is trying to represent. And this related entity is a movie. This particular entity is a movie that was made based on the novel. On the several other works as well by Baumann. And it was made in 1966 by a director, Leonid Sleimitz. And here we need a different approach. We need to map this field with a movie, saying that movie Vader in the Book is based on a novel Vader in the Book by Baumann. We have come to the field 670, source data found, and are facing a problem. How to map MARC21 source field data to Wikidata? And to answer this question, we must take a little detour. Because references in the MARC21 are not structured well, it is difficult, if not impossible, to transfer or upload these references directly into Wikidata. There are two possible options in 670 field to directly refer to the consulted source using subfield W. And one is if the consulted source is a book in National Library of Latvia collection, then we provide a system number from LNC04 database, that is our bibliographic database. And this property is not yet on Wikidata, but we are planning to propose it soon. And the second, if the consulted source is the web page, then we provide a full URL. In both cases, we can extract the reference itself, URL or system number, from this subfield W, but unfortunately, we haven't found a way to indicate for which statement this particular reference is relevant. And since the Wikidata uses separate reference for each statement, at the moment we cannot use this information from this field at all. In Wikidata, on the other hand, the Wikidata is like a collection of source data, which means that most of the statements should indicate where the data comes from. Wikidata includes three main types of statements, and that is facts about the subject of the item, mappings of external identifiers, and media links to Wikimedia comments. And the following applies to primarily to the first type. The majority of the statements on Wikidata should be verifiable. They should be supported by a source of information such as a book, scientific publication, newspaper article, authority file, etc. And in Wikidata, references are used to point at the specific sources that back up the data provided in the statement. References like statements also consist of at least one property value pair. For a reference, the value is the source. And typically, the property used for source is one of two options: stated in, referring to publication and media, and reference URL, used for websites and online databases. But there are several other options as well, as you can see in this slide. Each statement of an item may have one or more references citing a source for the information. And these references may be structured in several different ways, as you can see in the table. And in the next slide, you will see how we chose to structure our references in Wikidata. And we are back to our example. Here you can see structured references in Wikidata made for the same short story, Purvabridais, and the structure is following. First, we have this stated in statement where we can use it. We can use it for reference field to refer to information document or database in which a claim is made. Secondly, we have IDs like LNB ID or Latvian National Encyclopedia ID for each property that deals with identifiers. A URL stub called a formatted URL is defined. So we must define it beforehand. And then we have retrieved, that is a date or a point in time when information was retrieved. And finally, we have a reference URL. We see external identifiers in our still in our work authority record. Here you can see Wikidata identifier, WIAF identifier, and National Encyclopedia of Latvia identifiers. At the moment, these are the only identifiers we are using for work authority records. And the identifiers, of course, is very, very important. And it is not a secret that identifiers are the key to connect authority files with other databases and to keep this connection alive. Here you can see on the left the Wikidata identifiers like landscape dashboard that keeps track of the Wikidata external identifier usage and the overlap of their usage across the Wikidata items. As you can see on the right, the total number of external ID properties right now on Wikidata is more than 7,000. And truly, we can consider Wikidata as a major hub, not only for knowledge, but as for identifiers. And a lot of institutions primarily use Wikidata as that. And that's it. We have walked through the entire work authority record with the rich data that was closed in the ILS silo before. After getting our data into Wikidata, we can observe our authority files transforming them into the big knowledge graph, contributing to the common dream, a world in which every single human being can freely share in the sum of all knowledge. And with that, I will close my talk. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edwards, for your interesting talk on your experiences with Wikidata. So far, I haven't seen questions from the crowd, but I have some. So you said you have not yet applied for new properties. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so did you have only that instance where you were thinking about new properties, or did you have like several fields where you thought we need to apply for more properties because we don't know how to map these?
Actually, we are trying to follow the already existing structure that I was mentioned, following these two projects, where one was building a bigger model, more abstract model, and one was more concrete. But right now we are experimenting, we are going further, and right now we have our own wiki-based instance where we putting, not, because I didn't show you a workflow how we are working, and it's maybe a completely different talk altogether, but in the short, yeah, we are right now experimenting with the wiki-based instance where we are putting all this work authority, all our authority records and bibliographic database as well. So this manifestation level and items as well. So we don't want to overpopulate Wikidata with irrelevant stuff. So we are right now moving towards Wikibase. But Wikidata still, it is important, like a hub for putting this at least work level items there. So everyone else can, if nothing else, then reference them in their statements, yeah.
And did you also experience like the other way around, that you had seen properties in Wikidata where you thought, oh, we should use this field in our catalog, like we should add this to our own?
Nothing comes to my mind, but maybe there are some, maybe, but mostly, yeah, we are following the MARC structure, the data we are already having, and so and we work like that from the MARC data to Wikidata. So we had every field and subfield and every position marked to the Wikidata and this this Wikidata properties, and then just we moved them and added some new ones in the Wikibase instance when we needed them. Nothing like out of the scope of Wikidata, except of items, because we are right now trying to put their items as well, like holdings.
We also have a question by Joachim. Do you have plans to reuse the identifiers from Wikidata with your own applications?
Yes, if you're meaning, we are trying to make this connection between Wikidata items and properties with our own Wikibase state instance. That's we are making this connection through property, like I can't remember, but something like exact match or something. It's some simple mapping with Wikidata. So we are still like. There is still will be this connection between Wikidata and our workflow towards that with our authority files and Wikibase instance where we're putting much more data and other databases. But this we will keep this bridge between properties we are using.
Thank you so much. I still see people writing, but I think we can, also due to time now, say thank you to all of you. Thank you to all the oh, no, I see. Oh, there's one more question. I just squeeze it in by Stephen. I had to step away for a second. Are other groups in the Wikidata community that are now engaging with the data you're creating? Any partners emerging?
There are these two projects, this PCC project. Well, we are not directly involved with them, but we are involved in this other project, this WikiProject Books. But these are only one tools. I know that in Germany there are this big like not movement, but towards their own wiki-based instance. But we have consulted some of the papers that they wrote already about their experience, and mostly in the most cases we are just following their experience right now, because we are a small team, a small group of people. But we are very interested to connect to connect our knowledge to other people and to share it, our experience or listen to other experience in this case, because we are strong believers in that Wikidata is right now this general hub where we must boost. This is the way, the bridge, how we can directly communicate our knowledge from the cultural heritage institutions to the public, in general public, and okay, that is not the only way how to do it, but it almost need. We are considering it, and it's always in the background.
Oh, that were very good closing words also for, like, you really call up for the for Wikidata as a knowledge base to use. So thank you again so much for all the talks and to all the speakers. But the next session is already waiting, so we will have a very small coffee break. But before that, I would like to give you one more hint that this is possible on Thursday to do a lightning talk. So if you want to highlight a project that you are working on or any kind of software we are working with, you can do a 3 to 5 minute talk on Thursday. We shared already a pad in the chat where you can apply. And with the link where you can sign up, you can also, I think, find it not only in the chat, but we will hint you to there. And